Everyone that follows me by now knows that I love story rich, thought provoking games, and my favorite theme happens to be politics and philosophy. There is no better series than the BioShock trilogy when it comes to this. The three games deal with multiple political narratives like objectivism, collectivism, racism, and more. Talking about the political narratives of the three games could be a separate video on its own, so in this video, I will mostly be giving an overview of the trilogy, and of course, as always, I'll keep the spoilers to a minimum. The first Bioshock follows the story of Jack, a sole survivor of a plane crash who then ends up at the once glorious underwater city called Rapture. The only thing helping him is a mysterious person named Atlas that communicates with him through a service radio that he finds. As you play more, you uncover more secrets and discover what really caused the downfall to the city, which was once a utopia. The storytelling is absolutely brilliant, the characters are very well written and extremely memorable, the dialogue and voice acting is absolutely great. Definitely make sure you listen to all the audio diaries that you find, it adds a lot to the story. The atmosphere of the game through sound design and world building is hauntingly beautiful. It leaves you feeling creepy, it's unsettling and mysterious. Now, before I talk about the gameplay, keep in mind that this game came out in 2007. So, yes, the gameplay does feel a bit outdated, but it's nothing too bad. In fact, I'd say it's held up pretty well. The game starts off pretty rough. You only have a wrench to begin with, but eventually you find more weapons and it gets easier. There's vending machines throughout the game to purchase additional ammo, health packs, and other things. The game also has abilities called plasmids. I won't get into detail about all the different plasmids that you can find. You can literally play the game however you want, stealth or go guns blazing, it's up to you. You also have different tonics in the game which provide benefits when equipped. You can also hack multiple things like safes for loot, vending machines, or even security systems. It's basically that water pipe minigame. I actually really enjoyed that as I really liked playing Pipe Mania as a kid. As for the enemy variety, there's two types of enemies. You have your splicers and the Big Daddy. Both have lore behind them. This is what I really liked about the game. Every single element has amazing lore behind it that adds to the narrative. There are quite a few variants of splicers, and as for Big Daddies, they were made to protect the little sisters. What are the little sisters, you may ask? Why are they important? Well, you should definitely play the game to find out. Bioshock will definitely question your morality when it comes to the little sisters, so make your choice wisely. It was a great treat playing Bioshock. It is the kind of game you think about even when you're done playing it. Then we have Bioshock 2, set 8 years after the events of the first game. It follows the story of Subject Delta, a big daddy bonded to a little sister named Eleanor. Without spoiling anything, all I can tell you is that they separate, and the whole game is about you trying to reunite with Eleanor. The atmosphere is the same as the first game. They're both set in the city of Rapture, however, this time it's even more dystopian. Despite the gameplay being similar to the first Bioshock with a few minor changes, it's definitely improved a lot. Since you're a big daddy in this game, you have a drill as your main weapon. You can find other weapons later as well. Different plasmids and tonics are also available in this game. One great change was that in the previous game, you couldn't use weapons and plasmids simultaneously, but now you can. You can still hack in the game, but it's no longer the pipe mini game. Instead, you have to stop a sliding needle on the correct color on a dial. I personally have very mixed feelings for Bioshock 2. I can't say I liked it as much as the first one. While the gameplay is great, the story was lacking for me. Now, don't get me wrong, the world building is great as usual. The audio tapes again really added to the story, and there were some really good moments, but the majority of the story felt stretched out and boring. The characters didn't feel as memorable as the first one for me. The political narrative was also good, but it wasn't nearly as impactful as the first one. Sadly, Bioshock 2 is my least favorite from the trilogy. And now let's talk about Bioshock Infinite, my favorite of the series. You play the character of Booker DeWitt. He has been given a chance to clear off his gambling debts, but in return, he has to find a woman named Elizabeth, imprisoned in the airborne city of Colombia. The game's story is one of the most interesting I've played. The main story itself is really well made while dealing with the political narratives of religious fanaticism, racism, and even ultranationalism. The characters are well written, and like the previous Bioshocks, once again you have audio diaries that you absolutely must listen to. The atmosphere of the game is also very different. Colombia is bright and hopeful. It's a gorgeous steampunk city in the air. I was in awe when I first glimpsed the city. While the first two games had horror elements and were designed to make you feel claustrophobic in a way, Colombia gives you a sense of freedom. But are things really what they seem? Definitely give this game a try and watch as the mysteries unfold. The gameplay is also more running and gunning in my opinion. You have multiple weapons to choose from, although you can only carry two at a time. I really enjoyed the gunplay, especially with the incorporation of the skylines. You also have abilities in the game, only that it's called Vigor instead of Plasmids. There's also multiple gears that you can equip, which replace the tonics from the previous games. Enemies can vary from different types of Colombian police to even armed automatons. BioShock Infinite visually is very different from the first two games, and as a whole, it will feel like a complete different game that shouldn't belong to the series. However, if you pay attention to the narrative, you'll see the pattern and how it mirrors the previous games. I'm really glad I played the entire trilogy, and I highly recommend you do too. The game provides the best of both worlds, fun gameplay and an amazing story. If you like this video, would you kindly leave a like and subscribe? Thank you so much for watching.